It started innocently enough. Sarah had invited a few of her friends over for a casual evening. Just drinks, she said. A small get-together to catch up. I thought it would be simple, maybe even relaxing. I'd met most of these women before, and things had always been cordial. But casual invitations rarely stayed casual when they involved Sarah's friends. The moment they arrived, I felt the shift. 5 of them, chatty, confident, smiling in a way that seemed friendly on the surface but carried a subtle edge. I offered each a handshake, keeping my tone warm. But as soon as Sarah walked off to get drinks, the questions began. Not the polite kind, more like an interrogation wrapped in politeness. "So, you're the one she's been telling us about?" One of them asked, tilting her head as her eyes swept over me like she was evaluating a product. I nodded lightly. "Yes, that's me." That was apparently too simple for them. The next 2 hours blurred together in a stream of pointed comments, subtle jabs, and veiled criticism. One questioned my career. Another laughed at my hobby of restoring old cars. Someone else hinted that my lifestyle didn't fit the type of people they thought Sarah should surround herself with. Every remark was delivered with a smile, but the message behind each was sharp and unmistakable. I didn't meet their imagined standards. Sarah's friends didn't seem aware of the tension they were creating. And Sarah, at first, appeared oblivious, laughing at jokes I didn't quite follow. But I caught everything. The comparisons, the small digs, the way they examined my words, clothes, gestures, even the way I laughed. It was like being under a microscope with no escape. Despite it all, I stayed calm, not out of fear or submission, but by choice. I didn't snap back, didn't offend myself aggressively. I listened, letting them reveal their judgments openly, almost theatrically. And in that moment, I realized something important. They could spend their time however they wanted, but I control my own. If they wanted to dismantle my character, they'd have to do it against someone who refused to be rattled. By the end of their little performance, they were visibly drained, still fishing for reaction that never came. I stayed steady, calm voice, straight posture, steady gaze. The calmness itself became my answer, a quiet counterweight to their attempts. It made their criticisms look smaller, almost childish. One of them, Claire, leaned in with what she clearly intended, as a cutting whisper. "You know, for someone who works with his hands all day, you're kind of rough around the edges." I smiled, nodding politely. I like being hands-on. It keeps me grounded. No defensiveness, no explanations. The simplicity stripped her words of their intended sting. Then Megan tried a different angle. "Sarah really has a taste for finer things. Do you even notice?" She gestured at my simple jeans and shirt. I met her eyes. "I do notice. And I dress the way I'm comfortable. It works for me." That tiny, unshaken response seemed to take the wind out of her attempt. Then came the subtle marital jab. "It's cute that you fix her household projects, but maybe sometimes you let her lead." Another little poke. I only smiled. Sarah has amazing ideas. I enjoy helping where I can. Again, clear, confident, unbothered. Their tactic depended on me reacting emotionally. They thought if they pushed hard enough, I'd snap or stumble. But the calmer I remained, the faster their words dissolved into the air. Slowly, almost without them realizing, the tone in the room shifted. Their confidence faded, replaced by uncertainty, like kids whose games suddenly stopped working. Sarah finally started noticing what was happening. I saw the brief flicker on her face. The surprise, maybe even admiration, not because I won anything, but because I refused to play along. When the evening finally wound down, I was still sipping my drink, relaxed, letting the silence settle. Her friends left slightly flustered, clearly unsure why their tactics had failed. After the door closed, the house felt unusually quiet. Sarah came over, brushing her hand against mine cautiously. I looked at her with a small smile. "Well," I said softly, "that was interesting." She laughed, a little uneasy. "You handled them well. I didn't expect you to just sit there like that." "I don't react to criticism the way most people do," I said. "It rarely accomplishes anything." She studied me, her expression shifting. Amusement, surprise, and something else. Respect. "They were relentless," she whispered. I didn't think anyone could stay that composed. Calmness isn't about staying silent. I told her, it's about seeing the intent behind the words, understanding the game, choosing your response. Everything else is just noise. The message landed. I could see it. Her laughter came easier now, genuine again. You made them speechless, she teased. I think they'll talk differently next time. It's not about making them rethink me, I said. It's about knowing who I am and not letting anyone else define that. She fell quiet, letting that settle. Later that night, lying in bed, I replayed the evening in my mind. The tension, the comments, the attempts to undermine me. And I realized something deeper. Life constantly puts us in situations where others try to question our worth or dictate our identity. The real strength lies in staying composed, choosing clarity over chaos, presence over reaction. That night, I hadn't just endured a 2-hour critique. I'd turned it into a quiet statement of who I was. No anger, no confrontation, just calm, steady confidence. And that left a longer-lasting impression than any argument ever could.